Okay, so what I want to do in this session is I want to talk a little bit about the Google Online Marketing Challenge. That's a competition that I'm going to get you to enter. Okay? Google runs this competition every year as a way to introduce businesses to Google's advertising products. And so they're trying to get you to do their selling for them. And so what Google wants you to do is to join up with a business that's not already using AdWords and run a campaign for that business over 3 weeks. So they want you to analyze that business's needs. What kind of business is it? Where is its target audience? And then you will figure out how AdWords works. Google will give you $250 to spend in that 3 weeks. And then you'll be judged on how much traffic you can drive to that person's website. They want you to write reports and things. I will look at those in a second. Before they give you the money, obviously. And then the prize is, I think, a trip to, presumably it's not a trip to Google's European headquarters, because a trip to Dublin would be no prize. So it's a trip to San Francisco. Okay, so a trip to San Francisco is good, unless you're already there. Maybe they'll give the people from San Francisco a trip to Dublin. So let me just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So when you go to Google and you search for mobile, let's say iPhone unlock or something. Okay. That search has resulted in all of these links here that Google thinks are relevant to your search. Over here in the ads section are links that people have paid for Google to show here. So they're clearly identified as ads. And what you want for your business is, ideally, when someone searches terms relevant to your business, you want to be here. We call this, organic search. This is where Google would put you anyway. So you want to be over here. And the things you can do to help make that happen. But failing that, over here, you'll have ads. And so all of these people here have paid money to Google to appear here when I click. Okay. Now Google uses a number of techniques to determine what I should see. And if I just say pizza, obviously Domino's has paid here. Okay, so it's the pizza Wikipedia entry. And look, it's giving me Apache pizza and Domino pizza. Like, I think that Google has figured out that I'm quite close to Apache pizza. And that is relevant to me. So it also it's not giving me some pizza place in Ranelagh, in Dublin. Do you know what I mean? It knows where I am, and so it's giving me something that it thinks is relevant to me. So that's quite good. It's figured out that I'm in Cork. It's probably figured out I'm in Bishopstown even. Most likely it knows I'm in CIT, because our IP addresses are quite identifiable. So it knows I'm in CIT. I'm looking for pizza. Well, Apache is relevant, Domino's relevant. Now, you could see for this business, actually, it would kind of be a pity to pay for ads when I'm finding it so well anyway. The only people that were paying were Domino's here. And sure, they were third in the list anyway. Which is a pity, but I guess they're pretty frantic for business. In choosing a business, then there's some tips for choosing a business, but you don't want one where the competition is massively fierce. No, I have some possible businesses for you which you can work with or not. You're free to choose your own business if you want. But I have some people who have expressed an interest in doing this with you. So at least you wouldn't be cold calling. And a number of things you would be doing with them is you'd be looking at their website, for example, to make sure that the website is getting as much traffic as it should be anyway, that they've designed the website in such a way that it works well without any ads. That's the first thing you could do. And we'll be talking about how you do that in class. We'll be talking quite a lot about how you do that in class. But then also then you want to identify where their customers might be and what kind of search terms their customers might be using. And are they a local business or a global business? Like if you're selling stuff, say you're selling, I don't know, you're selling cufflinks online, right? It doesn't really matter where the customers are. If they want to buy cufflinks, you want their attention because you can ship them. But then if you take, say, collegedinners.ie, at the moment that's only selling UCC and CIT. So there's no point in advertising college dinners to people at UCD because they can't buy it. So there's no point in spending money there. So the company may be global or it may be local. There are various different things to consider. So what I want you to learn from this is a bit about search engine optimization, which we'll discuss in class, and how you're going to apply that to this situation. Google wants you to learn all about AdWords so that you'll know how fabulous it is and use it when you go to work. I have no problem with Google exploiting you. And I also want you to learn how to deal with clients, professionally. So these people are your customers. Imagine they're going to be paying you for this service. So you want to deal with them in a professional way. So I'm tempted to say any questions, but I haven't explained any of it. So I mean, you must surely have many questions. But it's all on the Google website, step by step. You can set up an AdWords account, and then you can maybe have a poke around and look at that, but there'll be no money in it. And you won't get the money until you write your report. Now, the reports that Google wants you to write, they're specified here, almost like an assignment. So you have a pre-campaign report where you explain what the client is like. Also, Google probably wants you to maybe sell Google+. There's a separate social networking prize where you use Google+ as part of the campaign. That takes longer. I think that's a 6-week campaign, and that's a separate prize. You might not even have 6 weeks by the time you get started. There's also a separate prize for working with a non-profit, like a charity or something, and promoting that. That's something you could consider as well, if you wanted. And each of those might have different challenges. For example, the Guide Dogs charity down the road might be especially concerned about the accessibility of their website, because blind people are going to be using screen readers to read it. That's something you might, work on as well. So depending on the business, there'll be very different needs. Basically, a full list of all the things that they're doing, and then your proposed AdWords strategy. So what kind of ads you're going to do, what your goals and objectives are. And then you run the campaign for 3 weeks, and then you'll see how it went. Now, one of the things you'd be expected to do is, if you're doing something and it's not working, you might change it, in that 3 weeks, and you certainly want to make sure you spend the money and things like that. So I have to confess that not all of this is clear to me yet, how all this is going to work. So we're going to figure it out together. Or maybe you're going to figure it out first internally. We'll see. Okay. So what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to get into your team, your groups with your teams, and I'm going to maybe give you a list of some of the clients, and you can maybe think about which ones you want. I'm going to sort of, the people who got themselves organized first are probably going to have first pick, and we'll go that way. And I wouldn't be surprised if I have more teams than I have clients, so some people might have to go find their own. If you have an idea and you're interested in finding your own, that's perfectly fine too. Some of these clients are sexier than others, but you can have a poke around. Okay? Any questions on what we're going to do next? So get into your groups and we'll go from there.